name is Father Shawn Aaron from Modesto, California. I'm the oldest of 4 children and the only male child in the family, which means I have 3 sisters who quickly pushed me out of the house. Actually, we didn't grow up Catholic. My family, my mother was never baptized till I was 11, and then 2 of my sisters were baptized, but I still have a sister that's not baptized, and I have a father who's not Catholic. As I went forward in Catholic school, it was something I was learning about, but it was something that wasn't very deeply rooted, and definitely wasn't very important to me. So it was the night of our prom. The coach calls practice, and he calls practice 4 hours before prom. We had an option: either you quit the team or you go to practice, and made us run the whole time. He stood on the sidelines and blew a whistle, and every time he blew the whistle, we had to change directions. And to give us a rest, he put us in the defensive stand against the wall. So your legs are just screaming. And needless to say, nobody danced that night. Well, I still remember the professor comes into the classroom. First day of class, he comes in and he looks at each one of us. And he's wearing a tie-dye shirt. We got these beady little glasses. And he looks out at us and he says, "None of you exist. Each one of you is a figment of my imagination." And there came a point when he began to say things that really challenged what little faith I had left. Such things as the fact that there is no such thing as good and evil, that God is dead. And this shook me. And as I began to investigate this, I began to realize that if God does not exist, there are consequences. But for the first time, I realized that if he does exist, there are serious consequences as well. That my life had to change. And then the Legion of Christ came into the picture. And interestingly enough, when I first met the Legion, I said, no way. These guys are serious. I mean, I was impressed, really, with the breadth and scope of their formation. But they studied for 12 to 14 years before priesthood. I said, no way. That's just too long. And yet, the more I began to pray about it, and the more I began to feel this tugging inside of me that I have to get going. I have to start in that direction. The Legion was the only one that kept coming back to mind. And so one day I went out just to try on the life of Christ, try on the life of a legionary. And so I went out for a visit, and I never left. My sisters did the readings, and my first sister came up, and as she began to read, she just began to cry. My second sister comes up, and she does the next reading, and the same thing. And I thought to myself, this is going to be a long mass. We need heroes, and we need especially young men in the priesthood and men willing to do what the church needs. And that's where I see the Legion of Christ providing those type of priests, willing to go where the church needs them to go, willing to do what the church needs them to do, and willing to sacrifice and make the sacrifices necessary to feed the people, to feed the flock, and to extend the kingdom of Christ.